My name is Sylvia Blee, and I've been asked to share a story with you. So it all started in 1962 when my husband and I were married, and we had a wonderful, we wanted a big family, and we had this lovely daughter born in 1963, Lisa. And so we thought that was just wonderful, and so we continued on having our family. But God had other plans for our family. And so our second child was born. We had 5 sons, and our second child was born with a birth defect and died shortly thereafter. Our third child, Kevin, was born with spina bifida, hydrocephalus, encephalitis, and meningitis, and he lived 9.5 months and was taken care of by 2 nurses who came out of retirement to take care of him, each on 12-hour shifts every single day. And that was a blessing, and it was a blessing that he went to heaven immediately. There was a conference in Chicago at the time, and doctors came from all over the world for birth defects, and Dick's cousin was there and called and said, we'll fly Kevin to Chicago. And I said, I was so upset, Kevin is going nowhere. So anyway, they came to Rockford, Illinois, where we lived. And they all checked him out, and they all came out with tears running down their face. There was nothing to be done for Kevin but to pray. He was never in pain. That was the good news. So then I was pregnant again, and we had a little boy, and he died when he was one day old. And 8 weeks later, Kevin died. So we had 2 boys die within 8 weeks, which was really a bitter pill to swallow. And our daughter kept saying, why does Jesus want all my baby brothers? And so I don't even remember what we told her, but it satisfied her at the time. And then we moved to Moline, Illinois, and we had another baby. And he was born and died when he was 2 days old. And so then we thought of adoption. And then we thought, we have a healthy daughter and a healthy son, and let's just stop. And so that was our family. And then 26 years ago, Lisa and her husband and their 2 daughters and their unborn baby were on their way to a gala in Springfield, Illinois. And the end of March, they hit black ice, and Lisa and her unborn baby were killed. And so their 7-year-old daughter, Sarah, remembers her vividly, and their 18-month-old daughter, Morgan, doesn't remember her at all. So Sarah and Morgan talk every single day, and Sarah really lost her childhood when she was 7 years old because she became a little mother, even though we were there a great deal. She was a little mother and still plays that role. So anyway, that is our story. We just want you to know, we kept thinking, why us? Why us? Kept saying, why? And, it became very clear, why not you? Why not you? To set an example, to live through it, go into the pain, into that bubble of pain, and try to figure it out with God's help. And that is exactly what we did. And so we are able to smile and remember and cry and do all that, but we lived through it and learned from it. And we were asked to be the head of the March of Dimes drive that year when Kevin died. And we thought, oh, dear Lord, no. And then Dick said, why not? So we did it, and we raised more money than they had ever raised before because our town knew about all of our children and the birth defects, and they just opened up their checkbooks. And so then we did it one more year, and it was another success. And so we thought, okay, birth defects, March of Dimes, we're in it for the rest of our lives. And so God has tested us a lot, but with God as our pillar to hang on to, we can do everything. And you can too. You have to have hope and get into that bubble of pain and work it out with God. It will happen. It will happen. But you never know what God has planned for you. And you can plan your life so perfectly, and God has a different plan. Like when Lisa died, it was the weekend before Easter, and we were heading up there to be with them for Easter in Moline, Illinois, and we lived in Brevard, and so we talked to her the night before, and she said, "I'm so excited to see you," and everything. And the next morning, she was gone, and the baby and her unborn baby were gone too. And so we went, but it was not the trip that we had intended to be. So that's her story, and I hope that all of you have hope. And if you have a bubble of pain or a big bubble of pain, get into it. Get into it together, and God will be there through the storm, and He will help you through it, for sure. The way we knew God was with us, we said the rosary every day, and we pledged that we would say it every day for the rest of our lives. And of course, we've faltered in that a bit. But when we said the rosary, we just felt so close to the Blessed Virgin and to God. And God is never far from His mother. And so we really felt that He was there and showing us the way that we could help, and to reach out to other people, and not just be encased in our own family and our own life. But we saw Him helping us when Lisa was the only one left, and she just didn't know why she had been spared. And by the way, our son Bob is alive too. He's out in California. He is alive, our fifth child. But God He's just been with us. I can't exactly explain how He is with us, but we know in our heart He is with us. And it just happens. A feeling comes over you. And if you read the scriptures, Dick and I always kept thinking, well, we'll read the Bible definitely every day, and we didn't. We faltered in that. But when we did, every now and again, something would pop out at us, and we think, oh, isn't that something? And so then we wondered if it was something we should act on, and usually it was. But it was powerful, and all the time we were raising money, and I started many different organizations, and I felt that this was my calling. If I couldn't be a mother to 6, I could be a helper to many. And so that is how it is. And when people are suffering grief or anything, disattachment or whatever it is, I feel that we have a leg up on that, and that we can relate to sorrow and death and trauma and all of those things that come along. And we're still married. We've been married 58 and a half years, and we're still married, and we're still going through this journey together, however long it is. We hope it is, and wherever it takes us. But we're very happy here in Brevard, North Carolina, and we just love to help people. And there was a group of young men who came over to our camp a few years back, and one of their classmates had died suddenly, and some of them had never faced grief and suffered grief, and they came in, and their leaders said, "How are you at counseling for grief?" And I said, "I think I'm pretty good." And so the boys came in, and we had a wonderful talk about their friend Michael, who had died. And I still have their names. I had them write their names on a piece of paper and how old they were. And so I still have that sheet of paper, and we pray for them every day. And we were trying to, well, Dick didn't meet them, but I was trying to help them through their grief at the moment. And their leader was wonderful too. And everybody there, and Michael's parents were fabulous to all these boys. So God touched me very much that evening, when time was, it didn't matter what time it was and how long it took. It was just that we were together. And then they told stories about Michael, and we cried, and laughed all at the same time, and it was time to eventually move on. But that time was for grief, and they were 17, 18 years old, and some of them had never experienced grief. And so it was a blessing. I felt it was a blessing that I could be there to help them. So as I draw to a close here, I would like to say, whatever you're going through, if whatever sorrow or bubble of pain, whatever you might be going through, a divorce or whatever it might be, just know that God is with you. Let him talk to you instead of you being the talker. I have always been a talker, and it was hard for me to listen. And I had to learn to listen. And then God spoke. He said, shut your mouth a little bit and listen to me. And so I listened, and I really love to listen, although I still love to talk. But hang in there, everybody. No matter what you're going through, God is with you. If you ask God to help you, he will be right there. Even though he's got the whole world to worry about, he will be right there with you. And that is what God is. God is everywhere. He's